Well, the crypto market is in the red today, with most cryptos down anywhere from 2 to 10%. Now, this is being led by Bitcoin's price, which has now fallen below $108,000, currently putting in a loss of 3.6% over the last 24 hours. Now, as a result of this pullback, most and many investors are not only concerned, but a bit confused, wondering what is going on, why the market's falling, and what we should be doing now. And so in today's video, I'm going to try to answer those questions for you. I'm going to tell you why I believe crypto's falling. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm doing right now in response and exactly what I'm expecting in the future here for the crypto market. So we have a good bit to get into today, but before we do, don't forget that if you are trading any of the cryptos you see here on the channel, you can check out the link to BTCC down below and start trading over on BTCC. Guys, if you start trading on BTCC, you are going to get up to $10,000 in bonuses and lower trading fees, but you have to specifically use the link in the description right now. So head down below, go sign up, deposit, start trading today, get access to some of those rewards, and let me know what you think. But first and foremost, why is the crypto market falling? What is going on? So the reason why the crypto market is falling right now is due to people being overly optimistic and almost unjustifiably optimistic about something that they shouldn't have been. Now, I know that sounds really stupid and confusing, but let me explain. So over the last week or two, most people who are buying, really buying, are buying because they think that Jerome Powell and the Fed are going to cut interest rates here in the United States next month. They believe at the next FOMC meeting, they're going to announce a cut in interest rates that is going to put us in a QE environment, or an interest rate cut environment, which they believe will inject more liquidity into crypto and cause crypto prices to go up. And so since they believe that these interest rates are coming, they've been very excited and they've been buying a lot of crypto. Now, going into today, they have been paying very close attention to something called PCE data, but you can think of it like inflation data. And many of those investors who have been buying a lot of crypto right now were very, very concerned about PCE data, or inflation data. The reason being is because if PCE data came in today worse than expected, it means that inflation is out of control. And if inflation is out of control, well, guess what? The Fed's not cutting rates because they can't start cutting rates, because that could open the door for inflation to get out of control. And so many of these overly optimistic buyers and these big buyers as of recent, they were watching for this inflation data like a hawk. And a couple hours ago, we actually got inflation data that came in exactly as expected. Analysts expected it to come in at 2.9%. It came in at 2.9%. And although you would generally think that this is a good thing, that it didn't do anything unexpected, it actually wasn't a good thing for these overly optimistic investors. And the reason why I say that is because they were banking on better than expected PCE data, or inflation data. They were hoping that PCE data would come in at 2.7% or 2.8%, and it would make the decision for the Fed easy to cut rates, because at that point, inflation is under control. Now they can start opening up the door of liquidity and opportunity here for the economy. But they were just very optimistic. They were really, really hoping that would happen. And you saw it, right? You saw it over on Twitter and on YouTube, a bunch of analysts saying that, PCE data is going to come in better than expected. It's going to be the excuse that the Fed needs to cut rates, blah, blah, blah. And so, of course, people were buying even more. So those initial investors who were buying a lot expecting interest rates, they started buying even more whenever they started hearing the rumors that that inflation data was going to come in better than expected. So when inflation data came in exactly as expected, we started to see many of these overly optimistic and buyers start freaking out and start panicking, selling their crypto. And then, of course, you know what that's going to trigger. Emotions are going to trigger these lizard people to jump in and start manipulating the market even more to get them out of their positions. It causes chaos. It causes a pullback. This is textbook. This is historical. Whenever people are buying based on emotions, whenever they're overly optimistic about something, the smallest things can flip that optimism into pessimism, and then it's going to make them panic and sell, right? And they're going to start panic selling. And so that's exactly what we saw. People excited about interest rate cuts, freaking out because PCE data came in as expected and not better than expected. So they started selling their crypto, which triggered the manipulation in the market to push prices down even further, to hunt the liquidations to the downside. That's exactly what happened today. It's just that simple. There's a bunch of other things that happened, but the truth is that is why the crypto market's pulling back. It's a mixture of over optimistic investors getting liquidated because they were just too optimistic and too emotional for no reason, right? So that's why the crypto market's pulling back. Now, when it pertains to Bitcoin specifically, this pullback has now forced Bitcoin out of the descending channel. And I told you, the next move out of this for Bitcoin is the move to pay attention to. Because of course we've had these little fake breakouts to the downside, little fake outs down and fake outs up. But I told you, now that we've canceled these two out and now that we're back in the channel, it's important, because I believe the next time we break out of this bad boy, it's going to kind of invalidate the rest of this channel. The channel's not going to be of use anymore. And that's what happened today. I would actually go as far as to say that this channel channel that we've been tracking and trading for the last couple of weeks is no longer, and it's time to erase it, get rid of it, and start a brand new kind of plan here for the Bitcoin price, because it has now officially broken to the downside of this descending channel. This is something I told you is about a 30% chance of happening. It's an uncommon thing here in the crypto market, but it does become more frequent, especially after a huge fake out just like this, right? And so because of that, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to call it a day here on the descending channel. We traded this thing beautifully. We were able to get four purchases actually in, 4 purchases in on the Bitcoin price. We took profit 3 times up here. We took profit right here, or no, 2 times right here. We took profit right here, and we were actually able to take profit right here. So we traded this range beautifully. I mean, we did a fantastic job of locking in some realized profits while most people were generating unrealized losses. And of course, now we can go ahead and retire this descending channel, and we have some cash to play with, right? That's the beautiful part. We traded this channel very well, and now we have some cash from those trades to be able to make some moves happen now that we are breaking to the downside. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am just going to go ahead and delete this channel. We're going to get rid of it, and I'm going to show you the new way that I'm looking at Bitcoin's price now that it has broken to the downside. So now that Bitcoin's price has broken to the downside, I'm looking at it from more of a macro perspective, okay? Because you have to understand that the microstructure just broke, right? The second that Bitcoin's price fell below this low, the microstructure was breaking, and it's time to zoom out a little bit. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to go to the daily charts, and we're just going to zoom out, and we're going to look at what's actually happening. Because while everybody's freaking out and screaming and panicking, the truth is that Bitcoin's price is still in a pretty decent spot. It has not pulled back that much. It has not crashed. It's not done any of that. It's simply just pulling back a little bit after pumping a little bit, right? Now, when I look at Bitcoin's price and I start to question, okay, what am I going to do next? I have to start thinking of more of like the long-term outlook and think, okay, like, do I think that Bitcoin is going to be higher in 12 months than it is now? Or do I think that at some point Bitcoin's going to go higher over the next 12 months than it has over the last 12 months? And yeah, I do think that over the next 12 months, at some point, Bitcoin's probably going to push up towards 135K plus. And so knowing that, it then influences my next kind of line of thought, which is, okay, if I think Bitcoin's going to eventually crack 135K, I probably should be doing some buying if I'm given a good opportunity. And so the whole game now becomes, okay, well, where would that opportunity be? Like, what would that look like? And so where this has kind of led me mentally with all of this stuff is thinking, okay, well, if I think Bitcoin's price is going to go up over the next 12 months, if I think there are still going to be gains on the way, I just need to be buying at the best moments that I possibly can. And there's no better time to be buying than when a crypto's at a massive support level. And so now that we have now broken through the bottom side of the descending channel, I'm zooming out, looking at it from a more macro perspective, establishing where those key zones of support are, and those are going to be the levels that I actually start reinvesting in. So I'm actually putting a plan together and putting a plan in place right now to start buying more Bitcoin at massive zones of support. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly what those support zones are. So when I look at Bitcoin, I like to lay out 3 key zones of support. Like, what are the next 3 major zones of support? I don't like 5, I don't like 7, I don't like 9, it's too much. I just look for 3. And these are the 3 that I'm paying attention to. So I would say, considering the fact that Bitcoin's price and its RSI is already back at a level lower than it's been since, April of this year, what I would go ahead and say is that there is a possibility that Bitcoin finds support soon. And so knowing that it could find support soon, I think it's important to notice and pay attention to the fact that it is at a massive level of support right now, which ranges roughly between 100, let's go ahead and call this 106.5 thousand and 111,000. What you can see is we had that previous point of support, or that previous point of resistance right here. We had resistance right here that we then flipped into support right here. And so Bitcoin easily could flip this little red box between 106 and 111K into some support. So I would actually go ahead and say that this is the first support zone for the Bitcoin price. Now, moving along a little bit, there is a next little smaller zone of support, which is going to be that next midterm low, right? So we lost the micro low. Now we're looking at the midterm low, and that's actually back at $98,000. And so what I would actually say is that this is also a very crucial zone of support, because as long as Bitcoin is above this level, it's actually in a pretty decent spot. It's still in a midterm uptrend. It's not lost its midterm support. It's not created a midterm lower low. It is still in an uptrend and easily could do something like this, and then come back down, flip into support, and continue upwards, right? It's still a possibility. So I would say the next massive zone of support is right here at $98,000. And last but not least, the zone of support that I would be paying attention to below all of those levels, if things starts getting really ugly here in the crypto market, is back here at the Fibonacci golden zone. I would say 90,000 to 82,000 is probably the strongest zone of support that Bitcoin has had in years, and I would be very surprised if it doesn't hold as support. And so that would be my third and final key level of support to pay attention to, at which I would do some massive dollar cost averaging. And so my current game plan is incredibly simple. Anytime that Bitcoin hits one of these zones of support, I'm going to buy it. And the hope and the idea would be that Bitcoin's price is capable of using that support to continue towards the upside, either bouncing off this one, bouncing off this one, or of course bouncing off of this one. Now, there is a world in which I'm wrong. There is a world in which it doesn't hold support on any of those. And I think at that point, we probably would have to go and say that we might be in a bear market. And the truth is, if we are in a bear market, when would I be wanting to buy? At support. Why? Because the bottom of the bear market will be signaled by support being established. And so even if I am quote unquote wrong and Bitcoin does this, these were still the best time to be buying. I'm going to buy Bitcoin. I might as well try to buy it at the best time that I possibly can. And these key support levels are the best places to be buying, in my opinion. And so whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, it doesn't really matter. It's either going to be the right time to purchase when we hit support and then it rallies, or it's going to be the most opportune time given the unfortunate situation and scenario of Bitcoin's price dumping to the downside, right? So that's my game plan for Bitcoin. I'm going to be accumulating it every single time it hits any of these massive zones of support. And they, of course, range between 106 and 111, the next one being 98, the next one running between 90 and $82,000. Now, the altcoin market is very similar in the sense that I am waiting for key support establishment to buy alts, but I will say I'm holding off on alts a little bit more than Bitcoin. Now, the reason why I say that is because alts just started to break through bearish structures. Now, listen, over the last week, I have been screaming about the fact that many of these alts have been creating structures that we're going to have a massive decision. I said, listen, there's a massive decision on the line. Big things are coming. You need to be ready for it. And people were saying, Tyler, stop saying the market's about to make a decision. Tyler, stop talking about it could go up or down. Just tell us what's going to happen. And I told you I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I can tell you this, something big is on the way. And what do you know? Just a couple days later, something like Ethereum starts breaking down through its structure. XRP's price starts breaking down through its structure. Solana's price breaking to the downside of its structure. And we knew that this was a possibility. And if you don't believe me, go look at what we talked about on August 27th, just 2 days ago. I showed you this in my video on that day. On the 27th, I said, I just took profit off of Solana now that we are getting close to the top side of this ascending wedge. These structures break down much more frequently than up, so I'm just protecting my gains a little bit here. It could break upwards, especially if we get some good news, but again, historically, that's not as likely. I'd say a 35 to 40% chance. What did we also talk about with XRP? The possibility that it might break down and create some sort of descending wedge, which is exactly what it could be doing right now. What did we say with Ethereum? I told you, Ethereum is creating an ascending channel, and these structures have a history of breaking down. And guess what ETH's price is doing right now? It's breaking down. So for everybody who is saying, Tyler, stop flooding the market, look at where we are. Don't use emotion, use logic. All of these ascending structures are hard to maintain, and it's normal and natural for cryptos like ETH, Solana, and XRP to break through the bottom side of them. It was the higher opportunity. It was a more likely thing, and it is in many capacities what we expected. So what did we do? We went over on look at what we did on the Discord. I said it right here. I told you, I realized I have nothing to rotate some of my ETH profits into right now, so I actually opened a small short trade on ETH to hedge against my long-term bags while we are in a bearish structure. So what did I do? I started shorting Ethereum, betting that it was probably going to go down to hedge my long-term bags while we were in this structure. Now I ended up closing that short trade because I had a better opportunity, but I also opened another short trade on Solana. And guess what? If we go check on the Solana trade right now, this bad boy is up 45% right now. Now look, it's not a huge trade. It was just a small portion of my profit, but the bad boy is up 45%, 46% because we were prepared for this pullback and understood that it was a possibility. And so having known that a pullback could be on the way, having known that something like that could happen, what are we going to do now? We're going to let it play out. When it comes to ETH, let's let ETH play out a little bit, because the truth is ETH might want to come back down all the way back to say $4,000 or $3,800. XRP's price, if it continues downwards, it might pull all the way back to the bottom side of this channel around 261. Solana's price, guys, could come all the way back to this channel, and if it loses it, it could go as far as $160. So there is still a lot of possible downside here in the altcoin market right now, and I just want to see how this plays out. Does XRP just find support and continue upwards? Does ETH, maybe recover back into this triangle and push upwards? Can Solana's price save itself before hitting this bottom side? I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. And my honest answer for you is I don't know what altcoins are going to do, because I think they're following Bitcoin and they're very alts are following ETH and ETH is kind of following Bitcoin right now, right? And so I don't know what Bitcoin's going to do. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to be able to maintain some support here or not. And I think that's going to have a major impact on the altcoin market. And so right now, I'm not laying out buy orders for altcoins right now. I'm not planning my repurchases for altcoins right now. I'm just going to let them cook a little bit. I'm going to see what happens, and I'm going to focus my sights on Bitcoin for the next couple of days to see what it does. Because what Bitcoin does is going to have a big influence on ETH and some of the other altcoins, okay? So for Bitcoin, I know my strategy. My strategy is to go in, lay out key zones of support, and buy these levels of support exactly as they are right now. Again, between 106, 111, 98, 90, and 82, right? These are my buy zones. But for alts, again, I want to let them cook a little bit, see how it plays out. Do they bounce? Do they not bounce? Do they break down out of their structures? Do they hold their structures? What do they do before I put a plan together? I don't know yet, okay? That's my honest answer to you. Some people like to come on YouTube and lie, say that they know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, so I'm just going to wait it out, kind of soak it in a little bit, okay? So that's where we are with Bitcoin. That's where we are with alts. That's why the altcoin market and the crypto market's pulling back. That's what I'm doing right now. My short trade on Solana, I'm probably gonna take a little bit of profit off of it at some point soon. I mean, it is up nearly 50% now right now. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna probably leave it open a little bit. And the reason I'm probably gonna leave it open a little bit is because, again, Solana's price is still at the top side of this ascending structure. So there could still be a possibility of a pullback of like, 8% to the downside, and I do believe it is on 10x leverage. Yeah, I'm on 10x leverage, so that could put the profit percentage up anywhere around 110, 120%. So I may leave this bad boy open a little bit longer. I'll update you all on how it plays out. I am doing my trade over on BTCC. As I mentioned before, you can start trading Solana on BTCC yourself today if you want, get up to $10,000 in bonuses. But I will update you here, and I also will update you over in the Discord. I actually did tell them exactly when I was going to open this trade. I know some people did jump in on this one. I saw something earlier. Yeah, a couple people also opened up a couple shorts. They were kind of smashing them, honestly. Like you can see, like this guy, 97.19% gainer, 30x short he opened on Solana. So I know some of you are also shorting it a little bit, and it doesn't mean I'm betting and hoping that Solana is going to go down for a long time. I am just aware that Solana is in an ascending structure, and at any given point, these things can just break downward. So that's why we're hedging our long-term bets with some short trades right now. So I'll keep you updated on the short trades. I want to see how this all plays out, but my primary focus is just reinvesting some of my profits back into Bitcoin now that it is pulling back. So again, I'll update you as everything plays out. Hopefully this did give you a good overview of everything. I don't think I missed anything. Let me know in the comments down below if I did miss something. I'll make another update tomorrow for you, updating you on what happened and all that good stuff. So if there's anything I missed, again, leave it in the comments down below. Let me know in the comments as well. What are you doing? Are you buying, selling, longing, shorting? What's your game plan? What's your strategy now? I can't wait to hear it down there. I do like to respond to every comment. So please feel free to, of course, leave one down there. And I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.